What are the three most important economic reports this week that you and I must pay attention to? When in doubt, I turn to my 12-year Wall Street veteran friend to say what has got his attention. So, Taylor, what are the three things that you are watching this week, and we can dig into each?
Yeah. So earnings season's back upon us, right? So we had the financials last week, and we got 3 or 4 big company earnings hitting this week that I think are going to be fun to watch. They're going to give us some idea of what's going on with the consumer, et cetera. So earnings, number one. Number two, existing home sales. That one's in your sweet spot. On the fringe of my sweet spot, but your absolute sweet spot.
Yep.
And then the third one is CPI, baby. What's going on with inflation? What are you watching? What are you watching?
Well, let's start with earnings, because you're absolutely right. Last week was kind of ho-hum until Friday with the community banks, which we'll make for topic number 2. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, earnings is an important one. We got a lot. We're going to get a feel for the customers, right? Consumers. We're going to get a feel for travel. We're going to get a feel for housing, right? The ones that I'm looking at is Coke, right? Classic consumer. I will be looking at Pulte Group. As well. And then there's travel like American Airlines, Hilton, Southwest Airlines. And then you go on top of that, you got AutoNation and Tesla and Procter and Gamble. And oh, by the way, throw in probably 15 community banks. This week's got a bunch of fireworks. I think all of those are important.
We got action. Yeah, we've got Netflix, we got Tesla, we've got, the biggest miner, Newmont Mining.
Newmont,
the miners have been the absolute moonshot of all moonshots, because gold has, effectively hit a new record sales price every
day.
and then gold miners are just like that with a jab of steroids in the ass. That's their performance. So it'll be interesting. I think you're 100% right, where it just gives you, this week is going to give us access into a lot of different pockets of the market. It's not the big names that are the most important, because they're just the hyperscalers, the tech, the FANG. That's what drives everything. It will be important when we get those rolling around to just hear one thing. Right. Are they continuing to spend?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Because that's our entire economy. The success of it right now is predicated on their ability to spend on build out.
Yeah, for me this week, again, I don't know that I don't think I would have said this Thursday. In fact, let me just be clear. I wouldn't have said this on Thursday, but by Saturday morning, I'm really keyed into the other community banks, right? Because we saw 2 community banks. Zion, oh, by the way, reports today after hours. That ought to be a freaking fun phone call, right? To talk to that.
If you're an analyst right now, you are just licking your chops. Like, this is awesome. Mondays suck, and I get to do this. I'm going to kill this person.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But the other community banks, again, I've always thought, again, being in the housing industry and multifamily and all this stuff, it has always felt like a lot of local community banks were they always are. They are always over leveraged in their hometown.
Yep.
And we've seen some hometowns like Austin, for example, and Houston and Fort Myers and some other, big cities really take it on the chin. And I just don't know how those community banks don't show real stress.
Yeah.
So those are the big ones for me, but also the consumer, right? Are they still traveling? Hilton, American Airlines, are we still spending on the little nice to haves, Netflix and Coke? Dude, this is going to be a big week.
Delta had an interesting earnings report where they mentioned that they are now expecting first class revenue to outpace coach revenue for the first time ever, which is just absolutely bananas to hear.
Yeah. The front of the plane is full. The back of the plane is empty.
Yeah. And you know what really shocked me about the whole thing is a lot of those folks are business travelers.
Sure.
And it just shocks me that business travel is as alive and well as it is post-COVID. I'm just shocked by that, because I thought that when folks went home and they realized this whole Zoom, Teams, whatever thing works relatively well to get a message across, that they would just continue to simplify their life, stay home with their kids, and do meetings this way. It's not
it's funny. It's funny you bring that up, because that was my life. I mean, I'm a million-mile traveler. I was 1K on multiple airlines, or 100, which means 100K. And, talking to my buddies in the industry still, when we used to go see a big client, right, we used to roll 3 to 5 deep with most of those people traveling. We always had like a local representative that likely drove.
Yep.
But we'd always go 3 or 5 deep. Nowadays, it's 1. Right. So you're
Interesting.
getting some executive or, I don't know, whatever, some director or regional VP to go to a big meeting. So they're still traveling, but it's now the muckety mucks, and they always travel first class, right? Even
Yep.
if they don't have the status and get upgrades, their admins always are buying, business or first class. That's why, again, right, when I was doing it and I was an individual contributor, right, my VP was in first and I was in the freaking row 29 by the bathroom or
You were by the
something,
bathroom.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. I didn't even get a seatbelt. I'm like holding onto the door. But, so travel certainly is changed. They're not going 3 or 4 or 5 deep. Now it's just, one guy in a suit. So it's certainly changed. But again, that's why the front's full and the back's empty. Let's go to CPI, because I think this one's going to be interesting. Right. Again, according to the experts, it's the headline. We'll just talk headline. It's supposed to go up again. Right. It was 2.7, then 2.9. Now it's 3.1. I think it'll be up 5 months in a row. I think
that will be the fifth. Correct.
It bottomed at 2.4. I think maybe 2.3. Now going over 3. What say you? That's a big number, man.
Well, and the crazy thing is like, okay, we have a Fed meeting next week. The Fed is going to determine what's going to happen with interest rates. They're going to cut. We all know that. But they are going to cut with only the negative side to their cut story and not the positive side to their cut story. Because one is, so with the government shutdown right now, they're required to continue to calculate and distribute CPI because Social Security has the COLA, cost of living adjustment, based on CPI.
That's why CPI is coming.
That's why CPI is coming. That's why on the other end, it isn't necessarily 100% necessary for us to get the jobs data. So that's why jobs data isn't coming. So the jobs data is what's supposed to be supporting their cut narrative and the fact that our jobs and our labor market is weakening. And I would imagine it is continuing to weaken. Let's be clear.
Yeah, the private data has been very clear on that.
The private data has been as crystal clear as it possibly could be. But the data set that they spend the most time and think the most and put most merit on is not there. And the other side of it is they're going to get the CPI number and it's going to break that mental threshold of we're looking for 2%. We just went from darn near 2% 5 months ago to now we're through 3%, which is it's going to create a tough environment for Jerome Powell to continue to justify interest rate cuts without that jobs data and with the inflation data being nasty.
Well, let's talk about that 3.1 number because, I had heard talk that they were suddenly going to be publishing the CPI number because it was quote unquote good news. You're the first person to explain to me that they have to do it because of Social Security COLA. That's a piece I did not tie together. So thank you for that. That's a pearl of wisdom. But do you make anything of this whisper that the CPI number is good, hence they rushed to report it, or is that just poppycock?
I think it's just the fact that COLA is dependent upon it. That's the only reason why it was coming regardless.
Okay, so that's good information. I didn't know why. I was asking myself, why are they going to publish this, but not the jobs number? You answered it, COLA, genius. That's why you're a Wall Street veteran. All right, so let's ask this question. So, how do you feel about? I mean, do you think it'll be 3.1? Do you think it'll be something
blind
higher?
Squirrel, blind squirrel,
blind squirrel. You just don't know.
Yeah, I think that the data. I think the data is continuing to trend that way. I think that we have this environment globally where it is a global devaluation of currencies across the board. And I think that with the debt constraint that we have, I think it has to continue to move in this direction. As much as our powers that be will not admit to it, I think that they have to continue to devalue this currency to pay down the debt with a less valuable dollar. And I think that's something that will continue to be the case moving forward. And I don't want to create the narrative that like runaway type inflation that we saw in 2022. But I think if they can control inflation and keep it between 3 and 3.5, I think they would be a pig in SHIT happy.
Wow. Well, I'm actually going to come out on a limb and I'm going to say it's going to be 3 or lower. So I'm going to go below the experts.
Okay. Yeah.
I love making calls like that. I mean, I looked at commodities in general, right? Oil and, gas down, food, surprisingly, at least at the commodity level, down. And again, we're talking headline, not core. So food and energy are big components of that. I've always thought rent inflation has been overreported, so that should come in as well. Yeah, I'm gonna take 3 or under, just as a wild guess. So Let's move on to the third topic, existing home sales. This, again, it's definitely my sweet spot, definitely a number I'm focused on for Thursday. Even more so because I made a bold call, Taylor, about 3 months ago, declaring that August, which has already been reported, is going to be the cycle low. It'll be the quote unquote bottom of a 3.5-year disaster for housing.
Yep.
And that means September's got to be up.
Yeah. It's got to start moving or you're wrong.
That's right. If it's not up, I'm wrong. And I'll have to own that publicly. But yeah, I think it's going to be up. I do think rates generally were lower last month. Again, I do think that there's more and more people that have been waiting on the sidelines for years. And frankly, when you're on the bottom, it doesn't take a lot to come off the bottom. So I'm gonna call up. And I think the experts today are at 4.06. Last month was 4 flat. These are millions. Yep. I actually went on a limb and said, I think it'll be 4.1. So even above what the experts are saying. So I think that's going to show that housing is maybe it's got a small heartbeat.
Yeah. And I think that your audience is probably smart enough to already know this, but I'll just state the obvious that these are all things that are seasonally adjusted. So it's not like, hey, the fact that we're now in the fall and kids are back at school, like that doesn't impact it. So because I oftentimes get that comment a lot of, well, it's not summer anymore or whatever, so therefore it's going to be worse. That all gets factored in. They seasonally adjusted. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. And anecdotally, my community started to turn over a little bit. And we love it because we pay a lot of attention to it because when our community turns over, it's old people leaving and new people with kids coming in.
Makes sense.
We all celebrate. Yay! So we're all looking forward to it happening. But we have seen a little bit more turnover. Now, granted, we're in the Northeast. It's still a tight market in the Northeast. It is. Really tight. And so when things go for sale and people are willing to move, they move. But they gotta be willing to take it somewhere else, right? So, in all likelihood, most people that are selling are taking a mortgage on the other end. So, it's anecdotally, I guess I would say our community, we've had 3 or 4 purchases in the last month, and it's faster than it has been.
There you go. Well, this is a lot of fun. Again, 3 important things to watch, folks. Earnings, existing home sales, and CPI. Let us know in the comments below, which is the one you are watching most closely. Taylor, where can people find you?
Yeah, find us at Life Goal Investments. We're on Instagram and on TikTok at Life Goal Investments.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.